Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for the mayor of Abbotsford to bring the R.C.M.P. in forensic audit the city books. Wow. The level of corruption in Abbotsford's outrageous, and the establishment running around with the MLA, Corky Neufeld, trying to load Amric Moran. He's being turned over from the Abbotsford Police Board. Now they're going to load him to the City Council, and you can see everybody trying to prop him up, Mike Dion, everybody. Wow, are they shadowing and propping this guy up? It looks like he's getting married with all the gifts they're giving him. I'm on Old Claiborne. I want you to look across at that development sign. That development sign is the Economic Development Officer, Henry Braun's own son, Darren Braun. He took the information out of the city, took the contractors and developers that were struggling on pieces of property, pushed his way in. If you give it to my company, he's the applicant over there. And because he knew all the information, and they were all his friends in the city, he could get it zoned and passed. That would also mean that the city council, when this neighborhood goes to vote, they'll outvote everybody and they'll say, the council outvoted you 5-1 in favor of it. And this is what they were doing on Cooper's Farm. This is what Henry was doing with his son, and this is what Dave Sadu knew. So Dave Sadu said, look, I'm going to tell your son to call that information out of the city. He owns Blue Sky, unless you help me with my dad's property on Tracy Road, and you lift it, you sell it, and everything else. It was his team. It wasn't working no more for the city. They weren't councillors and mayors. They were buddy-buddy systems. This is why Abbotsford Police Department was sent after me, smashing my phone, threatening me, and trying to run me out of town. They were Henry's elite friends, and they knew if they get exposed, it's insider trading. They probably knew it would go to the premier, and they probably know now you have to have the R.C.M.P. in, and these guys would be losing their shit on these millions of dollars of jobs. Darren Braun took that information, insider trading, and all his friends, and was winning these decisions, then going to these developers and telling them, if you buy that, you let my company do the business, we'll propose it, we could go for extra stuff all in the city. They were his friends. He should not be doing business for 5 to 10 years, and this is why Henry worked so hard to have Greg Toes block me at the Chamber of Commerce and offer me a bribe. Andy Sadu and Dave Sadu at UFE, Dave Sadu not putting me in the newspaper, then the Abbotsford Police threatening me. Sandy Blue, who's on the police board with Colin Watts, said I grabbed her up the dress, all of it. Their whole empire was going to come down. How did this empire begin? This empire only could keep carrying on and carrying it out because it had private police. The private police couldn't investigate their friends. They couldn't do insider trading. They didn't know anything. So the private police became a personal posse for Henry Braun, Ed Fast, and Mike Dion. And where is my buddy Corky Neufeld? Where is my buddy not going around and saying that David Eby knew that Dave Sadu's piece of property was leveraged for shutting his mouth, and his dad's got his extended lift for him and his council, and rushed this piece of property for Vitalis, gave it corporate welfare by the NDP, and all the insider trading that took place. Darren Braun was a proving officer. He made it his business to know what the city's layout is for the next 5 to 10 years. When I told that to the R.C.M.P. mission, they came up with a plan. They said, Mr. Pelican, we want you to run for mayor. And I kind of looked dumbfounded. They said, that will prove that Henry's really out to block you, and he's after the millions of dollars because Henry ain't about the mayorship because he would be running again. When he takes such interest of loading R.C.M.P. in these councils and using police and Ed Fast and Vicky Hopes, he's after a bigger picture, and they knew that. And that bigger picture is what he set up for his mayor term and what he lobbied for his mayor term. He needs somebody in there that he can control. And that somebody was going to be R.C.M.P. And the R.C.M.P. knew this. And under their wisdom and knowledge, I put my name forward. And everybody except for the R.C.M.P. weren't shocked of the stuff that I went through and what Henry Brown took with Vicky Hopes, what he did with Abbotsford First, what Ross Siemens did, what Dave Sadu did. And now we see Peter Sparanese, the city manager, called quits because he knows that's insider trading. As a city manager, he should have said, Darren worked here. All his friends are in the city. His dad was tied in the city. You're rushing his projects. And he went to the developers. He's getting the lift. And he's doing all these job sites through Abbotsford. And he's the applicant here. So I encourage you to take a drive through Abbotsford. Then I encourage you to tell Corky Neufeld that you're looking at voting for 1BC, NDP, or anybody, but to get Corky Neufeld out. This is where an MLA is. And Corky Neufeld won't stand here and do this for these neighbors. He won't speak for it because he's with Ross. And you saw him lifting Amrit Moran, doing a party for Amrit Moran rather than for his constituents. So what's going to happen here? Abbotsford Council are going to outvote the neighbors because, oh, no, you weren't supposed to know this was a backroom deal in the scam. I'm running for mayor, and the first thing that we must do is bring the R.C.M.P in because we got to take the shit that they stole and we got to give it back to the Abbotsford residents. And then we got to go after Henry and Mike Sir, who the top of the police chief who covered Henry's attempted murder. And you could see that. The R.C.M.P won't say the Abbotsford police are being slammed on. You can see Ed's wife won't say Ed is a good guy. You won't see Henry's wife. You don't see anybody supporting their husbands. You don't see even Ross Seaman saying, his wife saying, you know, it's wrong what happened because she knew Ross did it. Women got 6 cents. They know it before we knew it. And she knew what kind of creep Ross was to allow Sandy Blue to say I grabbed her up the dress to load him, to allow Henry to try to kill me, to allow Darren Braun and everything. And we're going to make sure guys like 62-year-old Ross Seamans don't say I get a call quick. We're going to make sure the best comes in, and I'm going to bring the breast, a forensic team, and we're going to go through these constructions. And we're going to take that shit back. It's insider trading. Let the threats and crime be, and the level of crime through Abbotsford, through our city, is just outrageous. It's just outrageous what's been taking place on my community. But guys like Darren Braun must be taught a lesson, and he must be taught a big lesson of what that information he took out of the city to leverage off of and steal. And this is why Henry needed to load Ross. So he made sure, if I was in mayor, I'd tell Darren Braun, you're not getting a dime worth. You can go and clean sewer tanks for a janitor company at the hospital, but you're not using any leads out of the city to run your company, Blue Sky, or get any lifts because it's insider trading. I'm live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.